Hi, I'm Gavin. So today I'm going to look at, I think it's my last film camera that I own. It's a great camera. It's the Nikon F100, this one here. So as I sort of said before, I've got a Nikon F5, which was great for analog, and I've also got a Nikon A01, I can't pronounce it, can't remember the designation. It's an F108, F8, 801, that one, which was one of their sort of first professional autofocus cameras. But as you look at the Nikon cameras, you know, they've got some great autofocus cameras out there. And they sort of had one called the F5, which is amazing, yet it's a gigantic beast of a camera, and it's a professional camera. It's really good, but it's just too much. And they ran with the F5 until about 2004, and then they introduced another camera called the F6, which was their last professional film camera. I think they only ceased production of that camera literally last year, so it's run from 2004 to 2022, I think. But yeah, great autofocus cameras. But the F6 is very expensive. The F5 is massive. So what they did was, there's like the next tier down. Nikon created sort of like amateur professional type cameras, and so in 1999, when the F5 was still running, they introduced the F100, which was the top tier semi-pro professional type camera. And what people would say it's like a sort of a cut down F6, cut down F5. It's got a lot of the same features between those other two cameras, but it was a lot more, a lot less expensive, and it was sort of a great backup camera if you were either shooting an F6 or an F5. But yeah, I mean, the F100 is sort of, if you want to get into like the best of the best with the Nikon autofocus, if you don't feel like you want to cart an F5 around all day, or you don't have the money for the F6, the F100 literally will cover all your needs. It's a great thing. It's a really good, it feels like, it's weird, it really feels like shooting a digital camera. It's so close to shooting, the whole body shape and everything. It feels so much like if you pick up a Nikon D850 or any of the Nikon digitals. It's such a similar sensation to holding one. You just don't have a panel on the back. You know, unlike the Minolta 9 and cameras like that, which were, you know, big autofocus cameras, but there was no modern equivalent of them. With the Nikon F100, there's the modern versions. They had digital. They carried on all the way through. They never ceased production. So their cameras feel very, very similar to the digitals and this top level film cameras. There's some really interesting. It's got some great features on this camera, and it's a really it's a great camera to shoot. And if you sort of want to, if you want to buy one good autofocus camera, that's got great access to great lenses, will nail focus 90% of the time, get the exposure right, because it has the very famous Nikon matrix metering in it. This is the one. I mean, they're not hugely expensive. I think they're £400 or £500. But what you're getting like a really, really good camera. And yeah, I mean, it's a really nice camera to shoot this one. It does have some funky problems that come with it. I'll talk about when we get it on the table. We'll have a go through all the features and things like that. But one of the nice things I've noticed with my Nikon FE, I don't know how they do this. This is magic. Last week I shot a roll, one of those rewound. Like it was a film stock loaded onto a canister, and there was 32 exposures on the actual can, not 36. Yet when you put it through this, I got 39 exposures. And I've noticed with my Nikon FE, I don't know how Nikon do this. If you manage to load it in complete darkness, you can literally shoot every single frame. I think you can with the FE. Some of the later ones are hobbled, that you have to shoot at a certain speed. But they seem to get more frames out of a roll. I don't know how that works, because none of my others do this. But this surprises me. It does get more frames out of a roll of 36, like 38 or 39 sometimes. And I'm not expecting it. Very clever. Well done, Nikon. Anyway, let's put it on the table and then I'll come back. Okay, so here we are. This is the Nikon F100 on the table, and I'll go over from left to right. So you've got, okay, some buttons on the top here. You've got bracketing, which is your to set up your exposure bracketing. You've got a flash sync button here, and then you've got an ISO button. So let's just turn it on over here. You've got on, off, and then you've got illuminate, which will illuminate the LCD panel over here. So if I press ISO, then use the main, the main command dial, come in between, that's the main or that's the main. You can adjust the ISO of your film. Let's put that back there. So also here you've got another little dial underneath that you get to by pressing this button on the left. Then you've got multiple exposures, single frame shooting, continual frame shooting, CS. It's probably a different speed. I've never used it, so it's a different speed of like keeping your finger on the button. Let's try it. Yeah, and then we go down one. Let's see if that's slower. Sounds the same speed to me. It's a lot of film I've just wasted if there was film in there. Then you've got timer, that little bit there, timer. So I'll press that. How long is that going to give me? He says waiting 10 seconds maybe. 10 seconds. So there you go. Let's put that back to single. So that'll fire one single frame. Then over the top here, that little mark there is where the film plane is. That circle with a line. You've got your main LCD. Now this has got the 4 modes on it. So if I press the mode button, I think it's the back or the front. Yeah, back. So aperture priority, shutter priority, program mode, and then manual. So the standards. Then we've got exposure compensation here. I think that's the front one. No, back one. Exposure compensation button there. Then you're on off. Let me just put this back to program mode. There we go. And you can see your information there. There's the ISO, your aperture, and then I've got no film in it. And then you've got my program mode. Okay, so let's pop it on its back. Now CSN, I'm not even going to go there. This camera has a multitude of custom functions, but the most important custom function that most people want these days isn't in this camera. You can't tell it to rewind the film and leave the leader out. There was a mod that you could have the firmware updated to do it, but that's not one of the custom functions, but there's tons, and there's like a gigantic cheat sheet. You've got lock here for lock the aperture or lock the shutter speed, or when you're doing focusing. Then you've got AF on. Ooh, so that's an AF back button. And then you've got AEL and AEF lock. So that's them again, that's lock over there as well. So, and then we've got focus point selector here. So if I switch that to plus, I can use the little wheel here to pick which focus point I want to use, which is great. Okay, turn it onto its front. Got a really crappy Yongu 50mm lens. I mean, is it 50? I thought it's a 35. No, it's 35. It's just cheap, and it was like I just couldn't resist it. And it's not that bad actually for film. But anyway, I don't think it works on. I think you can use it on the digital one as well. Anyway, on the front here we've got our different focusing modes. I think it's constant focus, servo, and manual. Then we've got 2 of these. Now, these are probably something to do with flash, which I don't know about, but we'll leave it there. But it can shoot all the modern lenses, all the modern gilded, whatever they call the G lenses and stuff like that. So that's great. Let me just put it on its front. And then to get the film out, it's basically these two. This just push those together, open the film door, and then basically you can put your film in up to the red line. Now there's something to notice here. There's no seals. I'm probably going to mention this again. There's no seals, and these things get a lot of crap in them. And they also have a weak door mechanism here as well. So you've got to be really careful with them. And also this little thing here, which is the spool where you engage your film, that's prone to break. That's 2 little bits of plastic. So there's a bit of weakness in the back of this compared to its big brothers, the F5 and the F6. So I mean, I've seen pro photographers like slam in a roll of film and just slam the door, but I wouldn't do that with this camera. I'd be quite gentle with it. Also, you can set up a custom function. I've got it on this because, again, there is another weird thing with these. They are prone to rewind early. Some of them are, some of them aren't. So what you do is I set mine to not auto rewind. So if you press, here it is, the brackets and the exposure compensation, it will rewind after it's done the roll. I've had it a few times where it's got to 30 and just rewound. And I've tried another roll of film and it's been fine. So I don't know if it's something to do with the tension inside. And right on the top here, I'll probably mention this again as well. This is to switch between your different exposure modes. So you've got spot, matrix and center weighted. This button here, another little weak point, these can, if you press it down and move it, sometimes if you don't, I mean, I haven't used any other mode apart from matrix for years. So when I went to use it, it doesn't work. So I sprayed in contact cleaner. Again, I'm probably going to repeat myself in a minute over that. High point I find out, and it's got the diopter. We love a diopter. Battery wise, and this is one of the great things about one of these, take it on holiday, let me turn it off, is it takes totally normal batteries. Look at them. None of the weird ones, nothing weird or odd, just 4, buy them off the shelf in the newsagent's batteries. That's great. And then there's the thing for your tripod. What else is there on here? Got a depth of field preview, maybe. Is that depth of field? Let's try it. Yes, that's depth of field preview button there. That's what you take a photograph. Anyway, then lens release there. I think that just about covers it, really. So there you have it. That is the mighty Nikon F100. Put that in the middle of the frame. There you go. So there you have it, the mighty Nikon F100. A really, really good Nikon autofocus camera. You cannot go wrong with it. It does have its problems. You get weak door latch on it. It's not sealed like the others, so you get a lot of dust can get in it, but you can blow that out. But the door one's the main problem. The door goes on it. The door latch can go on it, and you have to get a replacement door. The other one, that's a weak spot there. This, if you don't use it, I mean, I'll leave mine on matrix. If you don't use the knob on the top to switch between the different exposure modes, it can literally, it'll just stick on one. I mean, mine's done it a few times, but I use contact cleaner and lift it. You can lift it slightly, spray underneath, work the contact cleaner, and then all of a sudden you get spot back and center weighted. But yeah, apart from that, they're not immensely robust like a, they're not like a massively robust camera like a Minolta 9. That thing's built like a tank. I mean, you can feel it. It's solid, but it's not quite as robust. It's not weather sealed, I don't think. But it's sort of like, yeah, so it's like a cut down F6, F5 type thing. Got all those amazing features on it, but I don't think it's quite as strong, and I don't think it'll take a real beating. It's much more aimed at like the person that wants as many features as they can, but they're not going to hammer it like a professional photographer. But yeah, you go. That is the Nikon F100. A really good camera. Thanks for watching.